Ever get that feeling like real estate's practically a foreign language? All those contracts and confusing market trends kind of makes you want to just live in a tent sometimes, am I right?
Haha, I hear you. It's a lot to navigate for sure.
So when I came across this McKinsey report on AI in real estate, well, let's just say my interest was piqued.
Oh, yeah. This one's been making waves.
Right. We always hear about AI being the next big thing, but this report actually digs into specifics, how it's already changing things, tackling real problems.
Instead of just the hype.
Exactly.
Huh.
And get this, McKinsey's predicting AI could unlock an insane amount of value in real estate. We're talking billions, maybe even trillions of dollars. But before we get lost in the numbers, maybe we should break down what this generative AI actually is, kind of like what makes it different.
Well, think of it like a computer that's not just crunching numbers, but actually creating things. Text, images even, get this, building designs, all based on what it's learned from analyzing mountains of data.
So instead of just spitting out spreadsheets, it's more like this AI's got an artistic side.
In a way, yeah. And what I found fascinating about this McKinsey report is it doesn't just stop at the what, it dives deep into the how, real-world examples of how this tech's being used right now.
Oh, for sure. And some of these use cases they highlight are straight out of sci-fi, but in a good way.
Right. Like, imagine never having to decipher those monster lease agreements again. They talk about AI that acts as your assistant, pulls out the key info, rent escalations, all that in seconds.
Talk about a time saver. No more squinting at the fine print.
Exactly. And that's just one example of what they call concision, which is AI's knack for making sense of massive amounts of data, pulling out what matters in real estate where information overload is the norm.
It's like having a superpowered research assistant who summarizes everything down to the essentials. But it gets even cooler. This report also goes into AI actually designing buildings.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
Not just drawing floor plans, but analyzing how people use a space and creating a layout optimized for whatever the goal is. More sales, better workflow, you name it.
So it's not just about aesthetics, it's about understanding human behavior
Yeah.
and then using that to design spaces that really work.
Exactly. And that brings us to another one of the 4 Cs. McKinsey highlights creation. And we're not just talking about AI spitting out text or images. It can create entirely new possibilities, even new revenue streams.
Okay, so we've got AI crunching numbers, designing buildings. What else can this thing do?
Well, the report also dives into customer engagement. And this is where it gets really interesting for, well, anyone who's ever interacted with a business. Imagine a chatbot that doesn't make you want to tear your hair out.
You mean one that actually helps?
Yes. One that understands your needs, your history, can actually solve problems. Think of, say, a tenant who needs a leaky faucet fixed. This AI could not only understand that request, but pull up the lease agreement, see if they're covered for that specific issue, even schedule a repair, all without human intervention.
Now, this is where it gets really interesting. AI as your ultimate problem solver. This 4 Cs framework is a helpful way to break it down, those core strengths of generative AI. But the report doesn't stop there, does it? It doesn't. We've seen what this AI can do, but the report's also realistic about the challenges. Like they highlight 7 key things businesses need to get right to actually unlock AI's potential.
Yeah, it's not as simple as, just buy a robot and you're good to go.
Right. It's like having a fancy oven, top of the line, but if you don't have good ingredients, you're not baking a cake anyone wants to eat.
I love that analogy. And speaking of ingredients, one of the biggest things for AI success is, no surprise, data.
Okay, gotta ask the dumb question here. We've all got data, right? Our phones are bursting with it. What makes it so special in the age of AI?
You're right, data's everywhere. But the report really stresses the need for quality data and relevant data. In real estate, that could be anything from property details, market trends, even down to how people move through a building. AI needs that rich info to make good predictions.
So not just a spreadsheet with addresses, it's more about being strategic, right? What data you gather, how you organize it.
Exactly. It's not just how much data, but how good it is. And this isn't just for the real estate giants, by the way. Think about your own life. If your finances are a mess, tough to make good decisions, right? Same with AI, better data in, better decisions out.
Solid advice. Now, the second action McKinsey highlights is user-friendly tools, which makes sense because the most groundbreaking tech is useless if nobody can figure out how to use it.
Totally. This report, they were big on design and user experience. These AI tools need to be intuitive, accessible to everyone, not just the techies. Imagine an AI so easy to use your grandma could benefit from it. That's the goal.
It's like that saying, a cluttered space equals a cluttered mind. If the AI tool itself is clunky, confusing, it's going to work against you, right?
100%. We've talked data, we've talked user experience, and now for the third crucial thing, remembering the human element.
So AI is not going to make real estate agents obsolete like some people are worried about.
Not at all. But it will change how those jobs are done. Think of it this way. AI can take over the tedious stuff, the repetitive tasks, freeing up humans for what we're good at, building relationships, giving advice, making judgment calls where you need intuition.
Like having the ultimate assistant to handle the busy work so you can focus on the strategy.
Exactly. Imagine a real estate agent using AI to schedule showings, generate property reports, all that admin stuff. Suddenly, they've got way more time to understand their clients' needs, give personalized advice, really negotiate the best deals.
It's not replacing humans, it's empowering them.
Right. And this also ties into the human element in another way. AI can actually help make the customer experience more personalized than ever.
Oh, how so?
Imagine an AI that knows, as a renter, you always go for a certain layout, you've got a specific budget, you want to be within walking distance of a park. It can use all that to handpick properties, perfect for you, no more endless scrolling.
Like a personal shopper, but for apartments. And not just finding the place, but handling tenant requests, maybe even suggesting local spots based on your interests.
Exactly. That personal touch makes all the difference. So we've got the data, the user-friendly tools, the human touch. What else is on McKinsey's list?
I feel like we've gone from 0 to 60 here. AI that can handle leases, design buildings that know what we need before we do. It's a lot.
It really is. But what I like about this report is it doesn't just drop these gee whiz moments and peace out. It makes you think bigger picture.
Totally. Like, remember when you first got a smartphone? And
Yeah.
it's like, wait, I can do what with this thing? I think AI's got that same energy right now.
And just like with smartphones, some people adapt faster than others. But this report makes it clear figuring out AI is going to be a huge advantage no matter what industry you're in.
For sure. But it's not just about hopping on the trend, right? We got to think about what it means, the good and the potentially not so good.
Exactly. Ethics, data privacy, making sure this benefits everyone, not just a select few. These are conversations we need to be having right now.
Big time. So as we're wrapping up this deep dive into AI and real estate, what's the one thing you want listeners to walk away with?
That the future isn't set in stone. It's being shaped right now by the choices we make.
Yeah.
And AI, it's going to be a part of that, whether you're buying a skyscraper or renting a studio apartment. The more we know about its potential, the good and the bad, the better we can shape it for the better.
Couldn't said it better myself. It's exciting, it's a little daunting, but hey, that's the future for you.
It is, isn't it?
This has been awesome. Thanks so much for joining me and breaking it all down.
Anytime, always a pleasure to geek out about AI with you.
Until next time, folks, keep asking the big questions, and we'll keep diving deep to find the answers.